In the vast expanse beyond our physical realm, an eternal essence gently beckons. This subtle invitation isn't a command, but a harmonious resonance that stirs the depths of our being. It's as if an ancient melody plays softly, reminding us of a purpose we've momentarily set aside. This gentle summons isn't about obligation, it's about choice. Each soul, in its boundless freedom, perceives this call and contemplates the journey ahead. The decision to embrace a new experience, to step into the tapestry of life, is made with profound awareness and intent. Even as we navigate our current existence, echoes of this primordial call persist. They manifest in moments of introspection, in the awe inspired by nature's beauty, or in the silent questions that arise during life's quiet pauses. These are not mere coincidences, but reminders of a deeper connection, a signal that there's more to our story than meets the eye. Recognizing this call is the first step toward rediscovering our true essence. It's an acknowledgement that our lives are interwoven with a greater narrative, one that transcends the mundane and touches the divine. As we attune ourselves to this inner voice, we begin to align with our authentic path, guided by the wisdom that has always resided within. Pause for a moment. Imagine discovering that everything you've been taught about your existence was missing a crucial element, one so powerful that it was deliberately concealed. For centuries, whispers of an ancient text have echoed through, secret circles describing truths that were never meant to reach the masses. This document, over 1,000 years old, contains revelations that could alter the very foundation of how we perceive life. It speaks of a time when individuals were deeply aware of their spiritual essence, when the soul's preparation for physical life was not only known, but revered. The manuscript, long hidden by those who feared its potential, outlines a spiritual process that begins long before birth, a process of conscious design, deliberate selection, and sacred planning. This knowledge wasn't misplaced or forgotten. It was buried, erased from public awareness to ensure humanity remained tethered to fear and disconnection. Because when someone truly understands who they are and why they're here, they become impossible to control. Imagine holding the blueprint of your existence in your hands, knowing that your challenges were not random, that your relationships carry meaning, that every joy and hardship was part of a greater design, one you helped create. This isn't fantasy or poetic metaphor. It is the essence of the hidden truth that the Codex Animae preserves. Accessing this ancient wisdom isn't about adopting a belief. It's about remembering something you already know deep within. The moment you glimpse this truth, everything begins to shift. You begin to see purpose where there was once only chaos, strength where there was once fear. The veil lifts, and what's revealed is not only your path, but your power. Before re-entering the realm of form, each soul undergoes a moment of breathtaking clarity, a panoramic reflection of all it has lived before. This isn't about judgment or shame. It's a space beyond ego, where the soul views its own history, not through the lens of blame, but through understanding. Here everything resurfaces, not as images or memories, but as feelings. You don't simply see what you've done, you experience it again, through the hearts of those affected. Every word spoken in anger, every gesture of kindness, every act of indifference, all return not to accuse but to teach. When the soul observes its past through this empathetic lens, something remarkable happens. It no longer asks, "Was I right?" but instead, "What did they feel?" This moment of pure awareness opens the door to deep healing, as the soul recognizes how its choices ripple outward, far beyond the immediate moment. No higher being scolds or praises. There is only presence, only the wisdom gained from feeling firsthand how love builds and how harm lingers. This experience becomes the foundation for future intention, a silent promise to grow, to repair, to evolve with more gentleness. Guilt dissolves in this space, replaced by responsibility. Forgiveness, when born from this insight, is not a favor, it's a liberation. The soul realizes that it is capable of choosing again, shaping its next journey not from fear of punishment, but from a desire to expand compassion, and here lies the gift. Even now within this life you have access to the same reflection. In quiet moments you can ask yourself, what legacy am I creating? What emotions am I planting in others? This self-inquiry, rooted in the timeless review your soul once undertook, brings you closer to your essence. It reminds you, nothing is final, and everything is a chance to learn again. Before stepping into a new lifetime, the soul arrives at a place of profound stillness, a luminous space beyond space where wisdom takes form. There, waiting with calm patience, are the ones who know you beyond words. They are not superiors, nor judges. They are companions of your eternal journey, guides, mentors, equals in light. These luminous presences make up what has long been called the Council of Souls. They do not tell you what to do. They don't issue commands or write your fate. Instead, they sit with you, as you recall your previous lifetimes, your lessons, your longings. Together you explore what your soul still wishes to understand, to transform, to awaken within. You are shown possible lives, paths with specific encounters, trials and triumphs. You decide with clarity free of fear which combination will best serve your evolution. Everything is chosen with intention. Relationships are selected, encounters are scheduled. Even moments of loss are understood as sacred windows into deeper. Knowing, the council listens. They offer insights but never interfere. They remind you of your strengths, illuminate your blind spots, and help you design the next experience not as punishment, but as opportunity. Knowing this changes everything. It reframes how you interpret both the blessings and the burdens of life. That difficult person, they may have agreed to play a harsh role so that you could grow. That unexpected encounter, it may have been orchestrated long ago. The recurring challenge? A signpost pointing back to a choice you made with full awareness. And here's the beauty. You're not cut off from this guidance. Even now, you can feel their presence. In moments of clarity, during sudden insights, in quiet prayer, or honest reflection, their wisdom finds ways to reach you. They never left. They're just waiting for you to remember how to listen again. Among the most pivotal moments before entering the physical realm lies a decision that shapes the entire incarnation, defining the mission. This isn't some arbitrary assignment handed down. It's a choice made by the soul with full awareness of its own growth and potential. Before returning to form, you examined where your understanding was incomplete, not from deficiency, but from a desire to evolve. You considered the challenges that would strengthen you, the gifts you could bring to others, the wounds you were ready to transform. Then, with unwavering clarity, you identified a direction, a purpose that would give meaning to every chapter of the life ahead. That purpose isn't always grand or visible. Sometimes it manifests through subtle acts of kindness. Other times it pulses through creative work, healing conversations, or inner resilience developed in the face of adversity. Purpose is not a job title, a role, or a task. It's an energetic thread woven through every choice you make with authenticity. The signs of your chosen mission are always present. They're found in what draws your attention, in the emotions that stir when you witness injustice, in the joy that rises when you're aligned with something that feels real. Patterns repeat not to frustrate you, but to guide you toward what you came to resolve or create. Even pain can be a clue. The areas where you've struggled most may hold the very lessons your soul intended to master and then help others with. What once seemed like a burden may actually be a key. And no, you're never ill-equipped. Every tool you need to carry out this purpose already exists within you. Your instincts, passions, challenges, and gifts, each was chosen with this aim in mind. When you begin honoring what feels deeply meaningful, life starts aligning in ways that feel almost orchestrated. That's not coincidence. That's memory, reactivating. The mission you chose has never left you. It's simply been waiting for your awareness to catch up. Long before the first breath, a profound choice is made, one that defines the starting point of your human experience. Contrary to what most believe, where you are born, the body you inhabit, and the family that surrounds you were not random outcomes. They were carefully selected with insight and courage. From a higher perspective, your soul explored multiple scenarios, different physical forms, emotional environments, cultural frameworks, not to pick the easiest route, but to find the one most aligned with your personal growth. The decision wasn't made out of convenience, but from a place of immense vision. You chose the vessel that could hold your mission. Whether strong or fragile, limited or gifted, your physical form was never a mistake. It was selected because of the exact qualities it offered to help you evolve, express and experience life as you intended. The same applies to your family. Even in the most painful dynamics, there are soul contracts in play. Perhaps you chose to heal ancestral wounds or to break repeating cycles. Maybe your parents were meant to trigger inner strength, teach compassion through difficulty, or reflect patterns you were ready to transcend. It may be hard to accept, especially when trauma or hardship are part of the story. But the soul doesn't avoid challenge, it recognizes the value within it. Sometimes the very people who hurt us most on earth are those who loved us enough in spirit to play a hard role in our evolution. Understanding this shifts how we see our roots. We move from resentment to revelation, from blame to empowerment. You begin to realize that your story wasn't something done to you, it was shaped by you, and this insight liberates. It allows you to reclaim your origin not as a sentence, but as a sacred foundation. The moment you embrace the truth of your own choosing, you unlock a deeper strength. You stop trying to escape your past and start discovering the treasure buried within it. As the soul completes its preparations, one final step awaits, the crossing into human life. But to truly immerse in the richness of earthly experience, a condition must be met: forgetting. This forgetting isn't a flaw. It's a feature, a sacred agreement. The soul chooses to set aside its eternal memory, to step into the unknown with no recollection of its origins, no awareness of the path it carefully helped design. Only in this way can the experience be real, the choices authentic, the learning profound. This transitional moment is often described as passing through a luminous fog, a threshold between realms. As the soul crosses, its vast awareness recedes, not lost but tucked away. What remains is a subtle knowing, buried deep, waiting for the right time to stir again. Why this amnesia? Because certainty removes discovery. If you knew every detail, where would be the courage, the trust, the mystery? Life in all its unpredictability offers the soul something precious, the chance to rediscover what it already knows, to remember through feeling, through action, through connection. Yet the veil isn't absolute, it's porous in places. In dreams, in silence, in flashes of intuition, you get glimpses. A strange sense of déjà vu, a pull toward people you've never met, a longing for something you can't name. These are echoes, traces of your original self reaching through the fog, and you can thin the veil. Every time you meditate, reflect deeply, or follow an inner nudge without logic, you're poking holes in the forgetting. You're inviting the light of remembrance back in. It doesn't rush, it unfolds. This is why you felt lost at times, why you've searched without knowing exactly what you're looking for. It's not because something is missing, it's because something is hidden waiting for you to notice. You've never been disconnected, only dreaming. And now, slowly, you begin to awaken. Not to something new, but to something ancient, something true. The soul never forgets. It only pauses, so that the return will matter. There comes a moment when everything is ready. The soul, having chosen its path, released its memories and embraced the unknown, prepares for the most courageous act of all, entry into form. Becoming human is not passive. It's not accidental. It's a sacred decision made in absolute trust, to leave behind the freedom of pure consciousness and descend into a world of limitation, pain, uncertainty. That is not weakness. That is bravery in its highest form. Imagine knowing the risks, the struggles, the heartbreaks, and choosing to go anyway. That's what birth really is. Not simply an arrival, but a bold commitment to grow, to love, to fall, to rise again, without any guarantees. The moment you took your first breath, you crossed into density. You became vulnerable, exposed, dependent, but even then a spark of knowing remained inside. Though the mind had forgotten, the essence had not. And in childhood, that memory was still close, visible in the eyes, alive in the imagination, present, in dreams that defied explanation. Over time, that connection faded. The world's noise grew louder. You learned the rules, absorbed the expectations, and little by little, the memory slipped beneath the surface. But it never disappeared. That spark, that inner truth, has been with you all along. It whispers, in moments of awe, in tears you can't explain, in the sense that there's something more just beyond the edges of what you see. Birth is not only the beginning of a physical life, it is the moment when the soul commits fully to the human journey. It says yes to the entire spectrum of emotion, sensation, and experience, not because it's easy, but because it's real. And now, perhaps, you're starting to remember that choice. To recognize that your presence here was never random, that behind every breath, every wound, every triumph, is the echo of that original yes, spoken in the silent language of the eternal self. If everything you've just begun to uncover was once known, if your soul's journey, your purpose, your choices were ancient truths, then a haunting question rises. Why did no one tell you? The answer isn't mysterious. It's calculated. For generations, those in positions of influence understood something powerful. A person who remembers their inner truth cannot be subdued. A mind aligned with its eternal nature no longer bows to fear, shame, or division. That kind of awareness dissolves the very systems built on manipulation. So the knowledge had to go. Texts that spoke of the soul's path were discredited or destroyed. Teachings that emphasized inner power were twisted into obedience. Those who dared to remind others of their divinity were silenced, exiled, or erased from history altogether. It wasn't ignorance, it was strategy. If people forget they chose this life, they'll blame others. If they believe they are powerless, they'll follow blindly. If they think suffering is random or punishment, they'll seek external salvation instead of inner transformation. This was never about protecting truth. It was about protecting control. But the truth doesn't vanish. It hides in symbols, in dreams, in feelings that never fully go away. It lingers in questions you can't stop asking, in the unease you feel when life seems too mechanical. That restlessness is your soul stirring beneath layers of conditioning, trying to wake you up. Now that you're remembering, the illusion begins to crack. You see the programming, the fear tactics, the cycles designed to keep you small. And you realize something even more radical. The power to change it doesn't come from outside. It comes from the part of you they tried hardest to bury. Your essence has always known. Your memory is returning not as theory but as lived knowing. And once this inner awareness ignites, No one can switch it off again. Once the veil begins to thin and the truth resurfaces, a natural question arises. How do you keep that connection alive? How do you continue remembering what was once hidden? The soul doesn't need to be taught. It only needs space to speak again. It starts in stillness. Not silence in the room, but silence within. When the noise of distractions fades, even briefly, the inner signal grows stronger. Taking a few moments each day to simply be, without tasks, without input, invites your deeper self to step forward. Then come the dreams, not just stories of the subconscious, but messages, fragments, and echoes of a realm beyond waking. Often dismissed or forgotten, they carry codes, symbols that bypass the mind and speak directly to the soul. Keep them close, write them down, ask questions before sleep. You might be surprised who answers. Another bridge is intuition. It arrives without warning. No logic, no evidence, just a feeling, an urge to turn left instead of right, a pull toward someone new, a sudden clarity in the middle of doubt. These nudges aren't accidents. They're your inner compass reminding you where you've been and where you meant to go. And there are signs, repeating numbers, lyrics that feel like answers, encounters that seem too perfectly timed. They're not tricks of the brain. They're invitations to notice. You don't need to wait for a miracle to feel connected again. You simply need to remember that you already are. Start small. Breathe consciously. Listen without distraction. Say yes to moments that feel alive. The more you honor these openings, the more they appear, not because you're summoning them, but because you're no longer blocking them. You were never disconnected. The soul has always been here, patient, persistent, and waiting for you to look inward again. Awakening isn't a destination. It's a daily decision to live from the truth you already carry. A quiet rebellion against numbness, a return to what has always been yours, and now that you've remembered this much, you won't forget again.